All right, so let's just quickly summarize what we have been discussing. So populism is about the people against the elite. The populists basically
This was very good issue for discussion,
hmm.
and
So because actually it's very popular, right? Populism is raising its head everywhere, and what they have in common is that basically populists are trying to polarize people. They are not trying to unite them; they're trying to polarize them, and with the objective to gain political power. When we're looking at a person like Boris Johnson, basically he doesn't really have a political belief. He's very opportunistic. Now he's representing the Conservative Party, but he also represents different parties, and the only interest, the real interest that he sees, is, I mean, it wouldn't be true to say, it wouldn't be fair to say that he is completely driven only by his own benefit, but his own benefit is very important. So if he sees an opportunity to get political power, then he would. I think he would do that.
I heard before the World War Two, there's a European countries has populism has a big power in the European countries before the World War II. For example, Nazi and Italian Mussolini.
Yes.
Yeah. And what is the big difference between populism in before the World War II and now?
I think there is one big thing in common.
Common.
Yeah, they have something very much in common.
Oh.
That political parties are usually organized left wing and right wing.
Yeah.
Right? But populism today is thriving on nationalism. Us versus them.
Oh.
The thing is that nowadays the topics are more, the political parties cannot cater to nationalism, because nationalism is not a major issue, but the foundation of these parties is like conservatism or liberalism, or so it's not catered on. So it's basically left and right, but this is now top and bottom. That's what's happening. So there is a big now that the populists are trying to tap into an area that is under catered for, underserved by the traditional parties. That's why so many parties are struggling to basically take a position on things like Brexit. It doesn't really fit into a conservative narrative or in a labor narrative. So what we see is that the Conservative Party in the UK completely wiped out almost because the issue that they wanted to discuss was Brexit, but Brexit doesn't really fit into the narrative of Labour, and so they didn't really take a very firm stance in that. So that's where a lot of like opportunistic politicians like Boris Johnson see a big opportunity, and Farage, of course. Farage became the largest party. He got the most votes in the UK and during the European election. And his party, his party was 6 weeks old. 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yes.
Brexit
Party.
Oh.
6 weeks. The Brexit Party got most votes, and the Conservative Party, I think they got like 6 seats, and he got like 38 or something.
That's right.
It's terrible. So that's a problem. But what you see is that populism, like in the Brexit Party, has only one point on its agenda, and that's Brexit. So what? The rest of it, they don't care. They don't have an idea. So how are they going to fill 38 seats in European Parliament? How is that going to translate to anything? So very opportunistic. Very opportunistic. Super opportunistic. So,
Edo-san, after World War II, in the world, there's a big power of the liberalism.
Liberalism, yeah.
Liberalism seeks minority power, and the world was divided small part by the liberalism. And nowadays,
I don't understand what you're saying. So the world was
divided small groups by the liberalism for to seek the minority.
You mean, but in the United States we had two-party system. In the UK we had two-party system. Only in like Germany, France, Netherlands we had like a lot of small parties. Is that what you mean, or is it?
And for example, LGBT だっけレズビアン、ゲイ、
LGBT。
だからliberalism seeks the rights of the minority. For example, LGBT, and the United States was divides the small groups by the liberalism. And nowadays, people living in the United States should seek nationalism to organize a big part.
But I don't think that. I don't think that people feel any problem of being divided. That's not the issue, I think.
That's not the issue.
I don't think that's the issue. It's not that people are not at ease because they are divided. They are not at ease because they're pissed off, because they don't. The majority of the people are losing because the world around them is changing, and they no longer, like, the middle class is disappearing. And a lot of people who are middle class, they see that their income hasn't raised and their children are worse off than they were. They're not getting ahead in life, and a lot of them are actually losing their job, losing their opportunity. And while the big players, they're making lots of money. The Googles, the Facebooks, the financial sector, those people, they make lots of money. They're not benefiting from it at all. So they're pissed off. I don't think this is an issue about, like, the society being divided. This is more about I am not getting, or I am losing my position in society. I work hard, but I'm not rewarded. And Trump and others are blaming that on immigration. They are blaming that on the previous politicians who have screwed up and got bad deals and whatever. They're blaming it on anything, but not on technological development, not on the fact that most companies have been outsourcing their work and try to produce cheaper goods. Cheaper goods are okay, but who is really benefiting? That's the likes of Facebook, Google, Walmart. These companies, they benefit from globalization, but that's only a number. small number of people who get extremely rich. So the gap is widening. The middle class is becoming lower class, and politicians like Trump understand it. So make America great again actually means try to bring the middle class, make the middle class the middle class again. That's who he's talking to. The former middle class who lost their position in society, he's talking to them.
By the way, I just it's kind of Trump's issues bring lower class to bring up to the middle class, and this kind of trade. Like America is a subsidy for agriculture.
Yep.
And also they still protect many industries like China does. Japan also doing. And WTO getting weaker. What's going on in the world?
So
US, Europe, they try to TTPP actually failed. What's going on in the world? I think this is an interesting issue in the future.
Well, the issue is quite simple. I think everybody agrees that free trade is beneficial to the world as a whole. But because we are not capable of sharing the benefits of free trade equally, of redistributing wealth equally, because with the open economy, we also created open financial world, an open legal world. So we can open a business anywhere. So the open economy created more money, but that money only ends up in the hands of a few. And most people who used to be middle class, who were very beneficial, who were necessary to produce for these big companies who made money, they're no longer needed, because somewhere else in this world there are people who can do their job just as well, and they are being automated out of a job, because pre-populating an Excel sheet, Uno-san can create a Python program that can do it much faster, which is great. So he can make a little money, but at the same time, what's going to happen with the people who earn a living entering data into an Excel sheet? They're going to lose their job because they don't add enough value anymore. Technology takes over. But Trump is not talking about that. He's blaming the Mexicans. He's giving a face to it. They're not really the culprits. Mexicans are not doing anything wrong. They are the housekeepers, the gardeners. They provide a lot of services, providing a lot of work that Americans are not doing.
You mean in the States?
In the States. The Mexicans the Mexicans crossing the border, they are doing a lot of work that Americans don't want to do. They're making a living, and
this means, I think, how come Japan is invite Asian people for kind of low-skilled workers into Japan? Actually, the 7-Eleven, many Vietnamese, no Chinese anymore,
Yes.
but many Vietnamese work here, but still not open, right? Like a babysitter or housekeepers.
well, I see a lot of them in Hiro, a lot.
Housekeeper?
Yeah, and babysitters like au pair, a lot of Philippine.
How can they ask Filipino come to Japan? Usually, we Japanese government not allow them to come in.
Well, I don't know how they do it, but there are a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
Every other person I meet in the street is a Filipino.
Oh, really? It's kind of immigration, right?
Yeah, they probably organize themselves around this, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people who hire these these Filipinos are not Japanese, but are.
I think we discuss about American middle class case or global trade or including people, and Japanese open the society to the world.
Right.
Kind of discussion I think we can deliver something for message to Japanese people.
But Japanese people don't want to have foreigners living next to them.
Yeah, but they can sustain current situation in the world anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't want to look that far ahead, just like the Americans.
Yeah. But several years ago, I discussed for some trade zone for the people, and consider for next 10 years, it will be heavy.
Everybody agrees with what you're saying, Wilson. So I think that everybody agrees that we need to have more care workers. That's obvious to look at it, but at the same time, once these people come here and they don't take care of their garbage in a way that the Japanese people feel that they should do it, becomes a problem, and they want those people to leave. I mean, that's just it. They want to have extra people, but they cannot compromise when it comes to their way of living. So you need to 100% adjust yourself and speak Japanese.
But think about that. 10 years later, heavy shortage of people to care the senior people. Who's going to take care of them?
They think then maybe we will solve it then.
Huh?
Maybe they will think, oh, maybe we will solve it then. But at the moment, there are still people who are taking care of my parents, so it's okay.
It's impossible.
It is impossible.
I have very hard years to take care of my parents.
But they cannot compromise. The people in Japan cannot compromise, and it's also because the people who need care workers are not the same people who live next to those care workers. So the people who live next to those care workers, they have problem with the garbage. They have problem with maybe cultural differences. So they are the ones who are complaining. It's the same thing that we saw with Airbnb. The people who were making money were the people who owned the properties, but they were not the same people who lived there. So they just made the money, but the people who lived next door, they were the ones who were complaining about garbage.
Oh, that's right.
And about strangers walking in and out of the apartment building. And
that's right. My case, I by my case is might be very exception. I don't care about Asian people, right? Oh.
So it's again, I think it's a very difficult to okay. How can we rebalance? How can we rebalance things in a way that the people that the benefits and the costs are being distributed equally? What we saw with for example technological progress is good for society as a whole, but some people are losers and a few people are winners, but many people are losing. So how can we make sure that the enormous gains that people make from the winners get, that flows back into our society? Same thing with Airbnb. It's a good system to take care, to be able to host more guests, especially with the Olympics coming. But how do we make sure that the benefits of this system are flowing back to the people who are suffering from the side effects? And the Philippine nurses who can do a great thing from your parents, that could be a benefit for people who have elderly parents. But
of course,
how can we make sure that they don't cause problems with Gomi and other things to people who have nothing to do with who don't have elderly parents and who don't want to live next to Philippine nurses.